welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com.
What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined every Friday by my main man, Derek Bell. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or anywhere you get your podcast. Today, we're diving deep into everything that is to come to the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Pittsburgh Steelers within the next week. Free agency officially starts on Tuesday. The legal negotiation period starts on Monday morning. It's a very, very fun time. Did I get that right? Oh, Wednesday. Free agency starts on Wednesday, not Tuesday. Very, very exciting times. We got questions about Bud Dupree, Cam Sutton, a possible left tackle that I think should be on the Steelers' radar and very, very high up on the Steelers' radar. Plus more. But first, we got to start with this. Oh, actually, first, this is twice now. I've done this twice in 2 episodes where I forgot to mention the weather, which I'm so sorry, everybody. It's rainy. It sucks here in Pittsburgh. It was beautiful the last 2 days, which means it's going to snow soon. And then second winter is finally here. We're getting through this, baby. How you feeling, my friend?
Man, it's cold outside. The wind is crazy. No, but I mean, it's good running weather. I like running in like the 40, 50 degrees. Dude, that's perfect.
40, 50 degrees is fine, but it's
Yeah.
freezing outside. Does not
It has
sound
been
like
cold when I've been walking out in the morning. So that's been a little rough. But overall, I don't have too many complaints, man. Like draft season, full swing. I'm excited to get into all this stuff for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting time. I think you're a lunatic. I saw that you ran 100 miles last month.
Yes,
That is
sir.
lunacy, absolute lunacy. I picked up walking uphill because you don't have to run as much when you walk uphill. So it's fine. And also,
Yeah, incline walks are good.
do you use MyFitnessPal
Mm-hmm.
ever? Yeah, they chart golf swings. So if you go to the driving range for 30 minutes, you get to eat a bunch of food. So
Nice.
I'm all about that life. That's my
Nice.
exercise every single day. I am not Derek Bell, but I'm trying really hard. What you did do, let's talk away from weather, more football. You dropped your second, I believe, mock draft for complex.com today. I'm right on second, right? This is your number 2.
Yep, second.
Pittsburgh Steelers land Joey Porter at pick 17. Very interesting. Before we talk that, I want to ask, was it an easy decision to make the shocking move at pick number 1? Because as soon as I opened it up, I knew who was going to be there. Like I just had an idea, but I didn't expect the team to pick them. For those of you who don't know, it's Anthony Richardson headed to the Colts. Was that in your head the whole time? Did you have to really contemplate that? How did that come about?
It was really tough. I've been trying to figure out like who the Colts like best fit would be, and I really think that they would lean towards like Richardson or Stroud. And I don't know, man. I just feel like regardless of what Chris Ballard's saying to the media, I really do feel like that he's gonna have to get aggressive here. Like I don't know if he's gonna feel comfortable staying at 4, and then seeing which of the last 2 quarterbacks probably are gonna fall to him. So. Yeah, I definitely think they'll like Richardson. The reason why I like Richardson's fit for the Colts is really I just feel like he does a lot of the same things that Hurts can do, which is they've got Shane Steichen over there now as their head coach. Richardson's a talented deep ball guy. He throws with pretty good accuracy down the field, and obviously he's a freakish athlete. So. Can do some of the similar things that Hurts can probably do in the run game in terms of like the zone read stuff, the quarterback power stuff. I don't think Florida's offense really took advantage of a lot of his strengths, but there's a lot of downfield passing in that offense, which kind of gave him, the opportunity to shine. So if his strength's there, but Richardson's got some stuff that he really has to work on. The mechanics in his lower body are kind of a mess, and that's why his accuracy, like particularly like underneath, is really bad.
Yeah.
But he does some stuff that I really value, like that probably like most people don't give him credit for, just in terms of like manipulating the pocket. Like he's really good at avoiding sacks. Like he deals with pressure pretty well. Those things translate to the next level. Like at the next level, you're going to deal with pressure. You're going to have to, get out of there, avoid sacks. And I like the way that he's able to manipulate the pocket. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was look at I'm not shocked. I like Anthony Richardson. I think he's the best quarterback of the group just because there's so much upside there. Like people are freaking out about, oh, well, Bryce Young's so fine-tuned. Yeah, he's 11 pounds. CJ Stroud has
11
his
pounds.
inconsistencies. And then Will Levis, I'm not impressed by Will Levis. He's a good quarterback, whatever. Pick him up at 8 and feel fine about it. He's not the first pick in the draft. Anthony Richardson is shooting for the stars. I'm all about that life. I would like it to be in Indy because I like Indy. I don't mind Indiana. I think I just like Indianapolis, the city. I always have a great time out
Combine, man.
combines.
Combine.
Yeah, like the phenomenal steaks. I discovered some bar that does karaoke and 50-cent beers. 50-cent beers and karaoke in one night. Crazy. I think it's called like the Angry Beaver or something. So the free plug to Angry Beaver. I'll be there every year until I die. Let's go to the Steelers. 17. Joey Porter Jr. Ahead of him, Christian Gonzalez goes, 6th to the Lions, I believe. And then Devin Witherspoon goes to the Patriots at 16, 17, 14. Then it's Joey Porter Jr. at 17. And after him, there's actually 2 more corners before Keely Ringo is selected. I believe it's the second one's Cam Smith. The one before that is, Deontay Banks, obviously, from Maryland. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a change from what a lot of people are expecting. People are talking about Joey Porter Jr. is never going to make it. Keely Ringo might not even make it. The Steelers might have to pick between Banks, Julius Brents. They might have to wait till 32. How did it come down to Joey Porter Jr. falling to 17 and the Steelers landing him?
Yeah, I mean, I personally was kind of in between whether I was going to choose Banks or Porter. I kind of just went with
even at 17.
Yeah,
I both of them there.
Yeah, I kind of just went with more of I guess conventional wisdom, knowing how that they, the things that they value, the continuity aspect of it with him being local and obviously really familiar with him. But, don't sleep on Banks, man. I keep telling people, and I know a lot of people, everybody's been tweeting me because I've been tweeting a bunch of clips and putting out a lot of stuff on Banks since the combine in particular. But everybody's been tweeting me like, hey, we need to get this guy at 32. And like, dude, I don't think he's going to be there. I mean, that's the number one thing I hate hearing from people on Twitter is like every time I tweet a clip of somebody that's like, unfortunately, he won't be there. Like everyone has this crystal ball where they know. But I've watched a lot of players in this class. Like I think I'm like up to like 3+ games on like 75+ guys now easily. So I've watched a lot of players. I don't think there's 20 guys that are better than Banks is, man. Like just in terms of traits, I think he's really good. And I would.
Do you think he's better than Joey Porter Jr.?
I like him better than Porter. Yeah, I would have him.
That's a controversial take right there. Yeah, I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying that's a controversial take. What makes him better?
I think he's more versatile. They both like to play that step kick technique at the line of scrimmage. They both are can be physical. Porter more so than Banks, but I think Banks' build, he's that height, weight, speed guy, super athletic. I think he's more versatile. Like he can play from a pedal. Like I've watched him do so many different things for Maryland. I mean, he can play press coverage, press man, but he can also like play quarters from like depth. He's functional in zone, but I really trust him in man coverage. And they have some similar weaknesses too. Like I don't think either one of them have good ball skills. Like I think they're actually kind of bad. But that's the only thing I don't know. Like trying to peg that for the Steelers. Like I don't know how they're going to look at corners because all the boxes that they check, like the press man skills, that like they check a lot of those boxes. Both those guys are functional tacklers. Like they're not guys that'll shy away from contact, playing the run, but neither one of them have the ball skills, man. I wonder if like how high that is on their list of things, like traits wise, that they're going to look for in this next cornerback. Because Banks or Porter really don't have that. That's why I would love Witherspoon probably as like the best fit, because I think he may check that box, even though he's not the athlete that Banks is though.
What do you like that him over those two? Because you just tweeted out
I don't like him. I don't like
Witherspoon might fall to 17.
There's definitely Witherspoon is incredibly technically refined and he's versatile. All the boxes are checked with him. I just want to see what he runs. I'm curious because I think he's a 4.5 guy, and with how technically refined he is, it's not a problem for me because he's really twitchy. But I just don't think the long speed is that great. I really do think he's like a 4.48, 4.52 guy, which is perfectly fine. But I'm just curious, and I don't know if we're gonna get to see him run.
I don't think we are gonna.
But he's got the best tape. He does have the best tape of any corner in this class. He has better tape than Gonzalez. Gonzalez is just an unbelievable athlete. Like, I liked Gonzalez's tape too, but like, he's just an unbelievable athlete. He's not comparable to Witherspoon in that regard. So
yeah, I think Gonzalez is going to be the first one off the board. There's just such limited questions about him. I'm falling into the Deonte Banks thought. The 4.35 got me. Like, you run a 4.35, I'm immediately
he's
just like,
athlete,
I'm like, all right, well, that's just way too fast to be as big and physical as he is. I like Joey Porter, but I've been cautious about Joey Porter just because you've made me cautious about Joey Porter. Excuse me. You've, kind of wavered that concern early in this process. There's questions about Emmanuel Forbes. I think he's very tiny, but do you think they could double dip? I think that's where that leads to, is if they go Joey Porter at 17, do you see them coming back in those first 3 or 4 picks and getting somebody else that maybe is better at ball skills and could go up and get those picks like Forbes, or like, I guess Brent's, but he's going to be gone at 32. I think he'll be gone or by 49. I mean,
it's tough to like weigh those guys. I think for Forbes, man, like, I was asking around on Twitter this, and I did a lot of research, but like, they're just not 166-pound corners in the league.
Dude,
like,
there's zero. There's literally zero of them.
I mean, it's so hard to find. Like, he does a lot of things well. Like, Forbes, like, he'll throw his weight around. Like, he throws his weight around. He'll tackle. Like, he has excellent anticipation. He's instinctual. Like, he's obviously a playmaker. I think he's the NCAA record holder for pick sixes. There's a lot to like with his tape. He's fast. He's incredibly fast, but like, he weighs like, he's a paperclip. So I just predicting how that's going to survive out there on the boundary. It's tough. Like, this class has so many outliers, man. Like, you look at like Forbes, his weight, like Trey Hodges-Tomlinson, like, he's really tiny. Bryce Young, he's a great prospect, but he's really tiny.
Jordan,
even like Clark Phillips, like, he's not, he didn't test really like an NFL athlete. It's Jordan Addison's really, really light. It's really interesting. And like, that's what I tell people all the time. Like, obviously the tape is what matters more than anything else, but like, man, you can only bet on so many outliers. Like, not all of these outliers are going to hit. Like, it's hard enough. Like, most draft prospects just don't work out, but like, you just got to be really careful about betting on all these outliers. And like, that's what Forbes for me. Like, there's so many other cornerbacks I like a lot, to where I'm just not super, super interested in him, at least like early on in like those top couple picks. I'm not super interested in him, just because I think that there are better players.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the tossing your weight around thing is great, but it's the same concern with Bryce Young. I don't care about how hard you could hit somebody. How hard can you get hit before there's an issue?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, Forbes is obviously incredibly fast too. Like, I think he ran like a 4.36 or something like that. But Banks ran the same 40 time, and he's 35 pounds heavier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and 3 inches taller.
It's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not about can you run into somebody full speed. It's how many times can somebody run into you full speed. That's much bigger than anybody you've ever played against so far. And because like, what if say they're playing the Ravens, and for some reason he is 8 yards away from a full speed Patrick Ricard? You're telling me he's gonna survive that hit? He's not.
A tough spot.
That's what I'm saying. That's 9 times out of 10 that guy's not getting up, and it's just I see the concern there. So who do you have them if they did double dip? I don't remember what in your last mock draft. Did you only had one corner?
I only had one corner.
Yeah.
Them not having like another 5th or 6th round pick due to trades kind of hurts the possibility of like double dipping, in my opinion. And just like all the different needs, like, that's the thing. We can get into like free agency too, but free agency will give us a good idea on like, where the bigger holes kind of are still on the roster, to the point where they may be able to double dip depending on what they're able to get done in free agency. But like, for example, if Sutton comes back, you don't need to double dip. I mean, this class is so good that I would definitely like to, but say you have your starters, you've got Cam Sutton, you got Levi Wallace, I'm assuming they're probably going to bring back Arthur Millette
No,
too.
I actually I
You
can
don't
tell you
think so?
from a pretty good source that they're not going to bring back Arthur Millette.
Interesting.
Arthur Millette, it's more of Arthur Millette isn't going to come back to the Steelers unless they toss him a bag.
Okay.
But they're not
That's
going.
interesting. I don't know. So, I mean, they're going to need they would still need a slot
They would
corner.
still need a slot corner. Brian
So
Branch,
maybe
cough.
or maybe a guy like later in the draft, like Keitrell Clark from Louisville. That would be an interesting name
That would be a
on
good
day
one.
3 if you want to
But
do
I
double
still
dip.
think you could go sign somebody possibly.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I think that's a good transition. Is there's a lot of free agents. Darius Slay has been tossed out there looking for a trade. Let's just address that one right now. Do you think that the Steelers, first off, what do you think a trade for Darius Slay is?
A lot.
A lot, really?
Yeah, Slay was good last year. I mean, he was good last year. I don't. How old is Slay now? He's got it. I mean, he's on his
32.
third deal,
That's what
right?
I'm saying. Like 32 is
Yeah,
old.
yeah. Nah, I still
He's
think
got
he
maybe
would.
a good year left, maybe 2, I guess.
What's the contract look like? Let me look and see.
3 years, $50 million.
That's what he has left on his deal.
That was the deal that he
Oh,
signed.
he's got void
Oh no, this is
years.
the last year of his deal.
Yeah,
His market value, according to Spotrac, is 4 more years, $85.79 million, $21.4 million a season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's gonna be expensive.
38. He'll be 36 years old by the time that contract expires.
I like Slay a lot. He's been a good corner for a really long time. I don't think if the Steelers are gonna bring back or bring in a veteran or bring back a veteran, I just hope it's Sutton. I mean, I'm okay with spending.
Yeah, I think they will bring.
I'm
back
okay with spending like $8 to $10 million a year on Sutton for to be your cornerback too, and then just draft a corner that you have hopes to could potentially be a first count CB1 type of guy. So
all right, so you're out on Darius Slay. I'm very much so out on Darius Slay. I just needed to hear you say that. I was never in on Darius Slay. I've been in on a lot of crazy ideas for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Darius, a 32-year-old cornerback, was not one of them, but It was tossed. We got to answer it. When it comes to free agency, there's a lot of names. I think we should start with Bud Dupree. Seems like the obvious choice. Alex Highsmith said that they'd be a 3-headed monster if he rejoined the team and played behind them. People are concerned about the 7 sacks over the last 2 seasons, but he's been dealing with injuries. Do you think it's a pick that actually, or a signing that would actually pay out for the Steelers? And I think a bigger question is, what do you think he's getting paid? Because it's got to be under 10 million, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's not an option for the Steelers unless they can get his cap hit for like $4 or $5 million for this first year. I mean, it's gonna have to be. I ain't saying that it's got to be a Melvin Ingram type signing, like a 1-year $4 million deal or anything like that. But you can't sign Dupree for anything like more than like double digits.
No.
Like I still see people saying that he's gonna get double digits. If he does, like cool. There's no reason they should be interested at that mark. Absolutely none. Like there's just absolutely no reason. He's not been productive. He hasn't been healthy. He's also over 30 now. So like but I don't think he's really going to be looking for that, to be honest with you.
No,
I think that he would welcome. I mean, Bud's made a lot of money. Like he was a first round pick who got his first round or got his 5th-year option picked up.
No, he got franchise tag, so he made
franchise
more.
tag. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, he's a first round pick, got franchise tag, and then he went and got paid in Tennessee. Like I'm not really exactly sure exactly what he made for those 2 years, but I know it was a big sum, lump sum of cash. So I don't
he's
think
making $10 million this season.
I definitely don't think it's gonna cost too crazy, but it's gonna be they're gonna have to pay him good money to be like a third guy, which is fine. Like that's definitely a good idea. You look at some of their depth and some of the guys that they've been forced to play when Watt's been hurt the last 2 years, and it's ugly. So you're just
telling me that Quincy
Roche
is not the answer there?
No, unfortunately not. I don't think so. But
do you realize that that's who they're looking at right now? If the Steelers didn't touch anything, they've brought back Quincy Roche and Jameer Jones to say, hey guys, somehow that's worse than the Derek Tushka decision. In my head, it's worse. I agree. I think that you bring him back on a very cheap deal. I think it makes sense for both sides because I think Bud's just looking to play. He's looking to go somewhere. have a role, kind of re-energize his career. I could see him honestly finishing his career in Pittsburgh and just saying, I'll come here for another 3 or 4 years. I'll be 35 years old and make a boatload of money. I'll be able to have a role. I'll play with guys that I like. I'll play on a team that I like. The city of Pittsburgh enjoys me. I think it's a good fit for both sides. Do you see them going into the draft then? Because I was on the Fan the other day and I said that they should go re-sign Bud Dupree. It seems like a natural fit. And Cale Berger, who was the host, said, I think it's a better idea to go draft somebody. For one, I don't think it removes the idea of drafting somebody if they do sign Bud Dupree. And two, I'm not necessarily sure that there's going to be like that guy there at maybe 32. I'd say 32 or 49 is where they're going to be looking for that. I don't know if their guy's still going to be on the board.
Yeah, I don't know about if I would feel comfortable. I don't think they would double dip. Like if they get Dupree, I think the draft is out the window. Just because, not saying that I would be upset if they went that route, but I don't know that they could do it just with the assets that they've got right now. Having said that, though, like this is a good edge class. I mean, they could.
Do you think they could double dip if they aren't positive about Alex Highsmith?
I don't know that Dupree. I think Dupree could be
not a replacement.
Yeah, he could be like a break glass in case of emergency plan for next year, but I definitely don't think Dupree would be like they would feel comfortable necessarily like letting Highsmith walk because they have Dupree signed for next year. Like I don't think that would be the thought process. I mean, it would make you feel better about it, but you would still they would still be either needing to draft a day 2 guy this year to develop or to potentially get like a round day 2 guy next year early in the draft with one of their first picks. So
okay, so what about this thought as well? Because I don't know. This came up at the combine. I got this itch. I dug into the itch. I feel confident about it.
Mm-hmm.
The inside linebacker class is awful, but what they do well is they're very versatile. And a guy like Trent Simpson, a guy like Drew Sanders, who, granted, when they get to the ball carrier, are unable to tackle, but they can get to the ball carrier. And they both play off the edge as well as inside. Do you think that either of those two are an option, or even maybe a Noah Sewell, who could play that Micah Parsons kind of inside linebacker role where they're kind of all over the field, fill depth at a number of positions, worst case scenario, early? Because that's who they talk to. Yeah. They talk to, outside of Henley was really the only mid-round guy that they talked to at the off-ball linebacker position. The rest of them were first-round guys. Yeah. Do you think that maybe that's an option? Not saying that you want that to be an option, just saying maybe it could be.
Yeah, I mean, Sanders started his career at Bama and then was like losing snaps because they had Dallas Turner, and I think that's why he transferred. But he's not a true edge guy to me, especially in the league. So I would say probably no on that. But I mean, we'll see. I could be wrong on that. I definitely think that. Did someone ask him that at the combine if everybody was looking at him as the off-ball linebacker? I'm pretty sure they did.
I wasn't him, but when at Trent Simpson, when I was at Trenton Simpson, he talked heavily about how teams are talking to him about playing off-ball and off the edge.
I mean, he's pretty much, a guy that's played a lot of different positions for that Clemson defense too. Like he's played, some overhang. He's played a little slot. I'm pretty sure he still has like some safety snaps. Not this year that I saw on tape, but in years prior. And then this year he was more of like an off-ball linebacker. I personally think Simpson's like a massive project at off-ball linebacker, but that's just my opinion.
I think they all are. So you're off that. You're off that track.
I think
none of this excites
Sanders. I think Sanders is actually closer to being like what you would want at off-ball linebacker.
Okay.
For the Steelers, he's closer to getting there than Simpson is, despite only playing the position for 1 year.
Okay. So none of those excite you.
Your
answer is still Bud Dupree.
I do have to address this though, because I watched this game the other day. Somebody said 10 catches, 185 is what Harrison Jr. did to Joey Porter Jr.
Yes.
For one, Marvin Harris is fantastic. So like, he's great. Like he would be a top 5 pick in this draft. Like if he was eligible right now, he would go top 5. Having said that though, he didn't do that to Porter. Like Porter gave up like a couple catches, and I think he had like 1 penalty. That a lot of that stuff came against other guys. So I have some reservations about how Porter's game is going to translate. I still think he's a first round guy, and I do think that he played Harrison and their other guys pretty well. I thought he was pretty solid that game.
What's his name from Tennessee had 5 touchdowns against Alabama, so all those
Jalen
guys.
Hyatt.
Yeah, anybody from Alabama you can't draft. That's right.
Man, I
know what you're gonna say.
I started something on Twitter. I really wasn't trying to like ratio nobody. I just like you gotta watch the tape, man. You gotta watch the tape.
Yeah, some takes are not great takes. That's okay. All right, so you're in on Bud Dupree. I'm in on Bud Dupree. I want to bring up another. Let's talk Frank Clark. Let's stay on the edge rushers here. Frank Clark. A lot of people have brought his name up. He's more expensive. I would say he's probably going to get $12, $13 million this season. He's definitely still got more. Yeah. Do you think he's going to get more?
Yeah.
His current contract's 15. He's 31 years old.
Yeah. I mean, Clark's an interesting case study, man, because like I don't know how he does it, but playoffs he turns into like some dominant monster. Like the dude's playoff numbers are freaking ridiculous. It was so funny. I was looking at stuff for the Super Bowl because I was placing a couple of bets, and I was sitting there looking at stuff, and like I had seen that Chris Jones like had never had a postseason sack, and then I was looking at Frank Clark, and I think like he had like more sacks than games played in the postseason. I'm like, what is going on, man? So no, I definitely think that Clark's gonna he's definitely not gonna be in the Steelers price range. Just too expensive.
All right, so Frank Clark's out. I think Larry Ogunjobi's a return. Cam Sutton's likely a return. I want to talk a bigger name here that I think should most definitely be on the Steelers' radar. If not signed, at least negotiations. People have talked about Taylor Lewan, left tackle. People got really excited about it. Obviously, he's not coming to Pittsburgh. It's just not happening. There is a name, Orlando Brown, that I think the Steelers should 130,000% at least negotiate with during the legal tampering period or whatever. Have a deal. See if he's at least in your budget. His market value is like $23 million a season. Boatload of money. I get it. The Steelers have the ability to create $40+ million in cap space this offseason. The dude gave up 4 sacks last year. I don't think any of them came after week 15. None of them came in the playoffs. I know that. Is he an option? Am I reaching for the stars here? Because in my head, Taylor Lewan was just whatever. Let's toss a name out there. Orlando Brown fixes all your issues. You don't have to worry about a left tackle for the next 5 years. The dude's 26 years old. He's made the last 4 Pro Bowls. I'm paying a left tackle a boatload of money if I have a quarterback that I want to succeed in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah. Brown is a very, very good run blocker and a solid pass protector. I don't think that he's an elite left tackle, but I do think he's a good left tackle, if that makes sense.
Okay, explain that one. Because he's made the last 4 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, I just don't personally put any stock into like Pro Bowls or even all pros. Like I just don't. I think
who cares if they're recognized nationally?
Yeah, I don't
all right,
care.
So why not?
I think that Brown has limitations as a pass protector. Like Kansas City does a really good job of scheming stuff up for their guys on the edge. And what I mean by that is like they use a lot of obviously tight end sets, making edge rushers rush wider. They give chips. They, do a lot of misdirection. They move Mahomes' launch point around. Mahomes is also like incredibly gifted inside the pocket just in terms of moving around. So that really helps tackles as well when you've got somebody that's, got a good sense for pressure and, all that stuff. So he gets a lot of help in terms of pass protection there. It's just that he's going to get paid elite money. I mean, it's just going to happen. Like he's going to end up being like a top 5 paid tackle. Somebody's going to give him the money. And the reason is because like good tackles or like, especially good tackles, but good offensive linemen do not hit free agency. There's not enough good offensive linemen in the league. Like most teams don't have 5 even average players on the offensive line.
That's what I'm saying.
And ideally Brown would not be like your best player, but you're going to have to pay him like that because he plays left tackle. And
in Pittsburgh, their best offensive lineman is James Daniels. So
yeah,
Orlando Brown's a huge.
I would view. Let me put it this way. I would view them in the same tier. I think Daniels is a good guard, but he's not an elite player. I would say that Brown is a good left tackle, but he's not an elite player. Brown's limitations as a pass protector, like he just doesn't, he's bad. I mean, I won't say like bad athlete, but like he's not a typical left tackle athlete, and that limits some of the range that he can have against some of those speed rushers. So
that's upsetting.
I'm not saying that like, I mean, would it make the Steelers better? Like, yes, absolutely. It's just the cost associated with it is. I'm interested to see what he gets. I really don't know. I think he's an interesting case study.
$1 billion.
I think he's going to get paid.
Yeah, he's going to make $100 million over 5 years minimum. That's really upsetting. It's really upsetting because he was the guy. Like, he has moved quickly into my guy because you could name a boatload of players that fill a boatload of needs, inside linebacker and cornerback and defensive line included. There is no issue that I would rather fill more than left tackle with a prominent left tackle. I'm not just going to go out and draft any left tackle and feel good about it. I'm not just going to go sign a Taylor Lewan or anybody and feel good about it. It's got to be a quality. This is immediately the left tackle of the future addition. I thought that was him. I guess
it's tough to find tackles, man.
I guess I'm wrong. So what's so let me ask this. If that is not the option, I do want to talk about inside linebackers here in a minute too. But if Brown is not the option, if a free agent is not the option, there's maybe two guys. You've said this to me. There's two guys in the draft that you feel are better than Dan Moore right now. If neither of them slide, you're just saying it is what it is. And then really what I'm trying to get at is, do you just continue to wait in the draft for the right answer if you're the Steelers, even if that may never happen?
I mean, you can draft a guy to develop. There's guys in this draft that I think have like higher upside than Dan Moore. But like, for example, like popular picks that I'm seeing in like mock drafts and stuff, like Broderick Jones will not beat out Dan Moore next year. Like if he's the pick. Like, no, he's not ready.
Who are your two? It's Paris Johnson, and
I think Johnson and Skoronski would both beat them out. And like, I personally think Skoronski will be a guard at the next level, but I do think he could come in and play tackle better than Dan Moore can right now, just because he's so incredibly technically refined with his hands, and the length is going to hurt, but I still think he could be like a functional left tackle for sure. And then Johnson, I think that he's just an incredible athlete with an extremely high ceiling. And he's already a pretty talented pass protector. There's some technical stuff that he's got to get done, but he played left tackle in high school, moved to guard because that's how Ohio State wanted to get their best players on the field. And then he moved back to tackle. And like through the first 9 weeks of the season, he allowed 5 pressures or something like that. Like he wasn't even tested until later in the year. But Jones, to me, he's scary. I think Broderick Jones might be a year away from being a year away. He's definitely a good player, a really good athlete, but the way his hands are really scary. And I've watched some SEC pass rushers kind of get after him a little bit. And it just worries me. I don't think he's ready. So
okay. So do you go pick 32 and take a tackle? In my latest mock, I have DeJuan Jones at 32 to the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean,
a move.
And I don't even care. If you were to take Jones at 17, I'm okay with that. It's not my preference for sure, but if you want to take a tackle early, that's fine. My point is, I do not think Jones. I'm very, very confident that Jones would not beat out Dan Moore as a rookie.
Yeah, I don't think.
And he's 20 years old. He's 20 years old too, so I want to say that as well.
He's young. I don't think anybody come in here and beat out Dan Moore. I just don't think. I think Dan Moore is.
He's going to be the tackle next year.
He's going to be the tackle
next year. He's going to start at left tackle next year.
The Steelers want him to be the tackle. Is it the best move? I don't know. I don't think so.
We can talk about that. We could debate that.
That's it. Our opinion doesn't matter in this instance. It's what's going to happen.
The Steelers left tackle next year.
Yes, but at least now we have an understanding that you don't have to have a top 10 pick to land a guy to replace him eventually. Which I think is the only concern, is that next year is the year that you have to decide if he's the future of that position. I think as of right now, could all predict that they're going to say he's not going to be that guy. And yeah, he's always tired as hell. Always. The guy doesn't sleep ever. He just works, is a dad to 12 dogs and a daughter and talks draft. That's what he does. But at least we know. All right, last position I want to talk about real quick, inside linebacker. You like, what's his name out of San Francisco? I forget his name. Shire. That's your guy. David Long.
There's a couple of them for sure.
All right, so if you're the Steelers and you're walking into Monday, who are the guys that you're calling first?
I'm interested to see what happens with some of these bigger names, like the Bobby Wagners, Levante David. Like, I don't necessarily love that idea for the Steelers. I know we talked about Wagner before. Levante David, I probably like, he's still playing at a really high level for real. But I would be really interested in some of these other guys, like the mid-tier guys. Jermaine Pratt is a guy that I would definitely like for them to put a call into early in free agency. Not only do I think he's a really good player, and I actually think he's a better player than Logan Wilson, but that's another debate.
Plus, you're taking away from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and you're taking away from the Bengals defense, which has been like extremely good in the playoffs the past couple of years. So, Jermaine Pratt, we mentioned Al-Shaair. I think if I had to guess, I would assume that he's going to be the first call that DeMeco Ryans makes.
Yes.
In Houston.
Yeah,
like it
obviously.
just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
But there's other guys too that I like. David Long's a heck of a player, but he just has some issues staying healthy. Leighton Vander Esch, I talked about him yesterday. We're in the spaces, but he was rock solid last year. It's just with him, another injury concern issue. He's had those neck issues. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a lot of linebackers in this class, man. Like Kaiser White, guys like that are capable starters. I just think there's so many guys, and there's not a lot of really good linebackers in the league. That's what I'm kind of surprised that this class is so good. But I'm interested to see what happens with that for sure. I think the Steelers absolutely 100% should be looking to add a starting inside linebacker in free agency so that they don't have to fool with this draft class.
I agree. And I don't think you get rid of Myles Jack either. For one, if you cut Myles Jack, I don't think it saves you enough money to actually make a difference. But I think the better option is to extend him, spread that cap space out the next 2 years. He's got a job. I think that's all he cares about is having a job. He got paid. He shouldn't have got paid what he got paid. He did. I think he's smart enough to realize that and should just look for continued work. So you keep Myles Jack. You go get another guy for the next 2 years. Now you have a starting inside linebacker rotation for 2 years. Mark Robinson's coming in, second-year guy. They have a lot of hope in him. Maybe you draft a guy. Maybe you bring back Robert Spillane. I don't know.
Spillane definitely coming back. We know that.
I know that too. I know. But do you think that's a possibility? And how upset will you be if it is a possibility if Myles Jack and Robert Spillane are the starting inside linebackers next year?
I'd be more surprised. I would be surprised if Jack's back and Spillane is not.
But you can't, like, if you cut Jack, what do you save? Like $4 million?
It's $8 million on the cap, so you got $11.25 million cap hit, $8 million in cap savings if he's released.
No, okay, $8 million is a lot of money. I thought it was $4.
But the thing with Jack, man, is like you're paying him a good amount of money. Like, let me see, he's the 15th highest paid inside linebacker, so I mean, it's not super crazy, and that number will come down like once some of these free agent signings come in. But like, I mean, you got to look at some of the impact he made last year. Like, there's just not a lot of splash plays.
Yeah, no, there's like almost none.
It's
not like Robert Spillane made many.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm pretty sure that he made more. Like, he has more like run stops than the two starters. I guess at the beginning of the year, Bush and Jack made last year. He didn't even play. Like, he wasn't even playing like as much early on in the season, but I don't know. It's tough for me. I mean, 2 pass breakups, no picks, 28 run stops. I mean, that's modest for a guy that played that much, though. I mean, both Devin and Myles were really good tacklers last year. Like, I think Myles has a missed tackle rate of 7.5%. Devin's was even lower than that. It's just there's just not that much splash.
But are you going to find splash? I think that's the question then. Are you going to find splash in any of these guys?
There's players in free agency that are better than Myles Jack, 100%. Like Pratt, I would 100% rather have him. But that's just the case. Like, I definitely think you're going to have to pay. I mean, you're going to have to pay him starter money. It's probably somewhere in the same range as at least what Jack got.
Oh, are you paying 2 guys $20 $22 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Season.
I think if you sign somebody outside like Spillane, I'm just going to go ahead and count that he's going to be back. I mean, they were playing him as
100% of the snaps.
He was literally playing every snap last year. He was playing over Bush and he was like playing over Zach as well. So he's going to be back. I would be shocked if he's not. So if in that case, I don't think that you can pay, bring back Spillane and then pay Jack and pay another one of these inside linebackers. That would kind of be a curious decision. But, it just depends. I don't know what to do with Jack. He's the most confusing part for me.
I think so too. I think a lot of people look at him and just say, oh, he's either here or he's not here. And I just think that if he is here, you have to figure out that cap number. You have to bring it down.
Yeah.
Which I think you could. I think Jack is a guy that is like the Trubisky thing is complicated and much more complicated than people make it out to be. Because if you're Mitch Trubisky, there's literally zero reason for you to take a negotiation. You are looking at it going, I don't really care, man. Like I'm going to get paid this season. I'm not going to stay here any longer than I need to because I want to get another starting job somewhere. Jack has a starting job. He's getting paid. If you could work out a situation where you could lower that cap number, I feel better about it. But I agree. I think that there's too many holes, unless you're just planning on everybody signing cheap. But I think that you're going to sign Cam Sutton for more than what his market value is. I think that if you're signing both KZ and Edmonds back, they're going to cost more than they did last year. You got to get an inside linebacker. Ogunjobi's going to be cheaper, but you don't know how much cheaper. I mean, a lot of, and then you haven't even added anybody. That's the thing, is you have added literally no one to a team that clearly needs things added to it.
Well, that's the thing too. I think that sometimes gets lost in like the discourse with like free agency. You're not necessarily looking, especially when you're a team like the Steelers that did make the playoffs last year. You're not looking to bring everybody back. You're looking to improve your team. So
yes.
Now, does that mean bringing some of your own guys back? Absolutely. Like you want to retain your good players, 100%. But just running this band back is not something that you should really be interested in. You should be looking to upgrade the roster. And
but you're smiling because you know that in their head they're looking to run the band back.
I don't know.
That's what they do.
I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic, man.
All right, I'll take that one. Do you have any other positions you want to talk about, or you think that's good?
No, I really want them to get an inside linebacker in free agency. I'll just continue to pound that. Yeah.
Next Friday, hopefully we have one that comes through. What's your I don't think I even prepped you for this at all. And I don't have one either. So what's your bold prediction for next week? By next Friday, what do you think we're going to be on here talking about? You going, I could not believe this happened.
I don't know that I have a bold prediction. Yeah, you didn't prep me for this, so I don't know.
I didn't prep myself. This came to my head 30 seconds ago.
Would it be bold if I said that I think they'll prioritize KZ over Edmonds?
Yes. Oh, I definitely think that's a bold prediction.
There's my bold prediction.
Oh, KZ over Edmonds. I like that one.
Not to say both of them won't be back. I think that they're going to prioritize bringing KZ back, and that's no like sources type thing or anything like that. I don't know. I really think that they're really going to try to bring him back for sure. Just the playmaking aspect of it is what separates the two for me. I like Terrell, and he does a lot of different stuff for that defense. Being able to play in the box, play in the slot. It's just that KZ he's a risk taker, man, and I think that pays off. And he's got a propensity to find the football, and I think that's exactly what Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin want on defense. So I definitely could see that being the case. I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I like the KZ.
I'd love to get both back, though. I do want both back. That's my preference.
No, I agree. If both of them come back, is Edmonds the automatic starter next year?
Yeah. It'll be, yeah, I think so. Base downs, I think so.
Okay. I like that. I was going to have a negative one and say that my bold prediction is that Cam Sutton signs elsewhere because I think somebody's going to toss the bag at him.
Man, that would be disappointing.
It would be, but it's too disappointing. So I'm not going to put that out into the universe because I don't want to be the guy that put that out into the universe. So what I'm going to say is this. I think Cam Sutton re-signs quickly, and it's for more money than people expect. I think he's a $10 million a year corner next year. And I feel good for him. I love Cam Sutton. I think he's a great guy, great human being, and a good player. So I got no qualms about that one. We'll address this one real quick because Jalen Ramsey's name's been tossed in there a million times. Go ahead. Tell me your thoughts on Jalen Ramsey and the Pittsburgh Steelers going to get him.
I don't know about that, man. I mean,
you tell me it's not an option?
I don't think it's going to be an option, though. I don't know if they're going to be willing to pay the price. What are the Rams doing?
Like, I have no idea.
I'm seeing people say, that Stafford could be on the table.
I was watching McAfee yesterday when Lombardi jumped out. He's like, yeah, teams have definitely called. And I was like, oh,
I can't imagine people are like, or teams would be like lining up to trade for Stafford with his
dude. No, if Lamar Jackson's not getting any noise whatsoever, you're telling, and Derek Carr got $32 million. You're telling me that people are like Matt Stafford.
What's weird is like they're bringing back, like McVay is saying that like he's in this thing for the long haul. Aaron Donald's not talking about retirement, but you're talking about trading Jalen Ramsey. Like,
dude, and just got rid of Leonard Floyd. Got rid of Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to see what that roster looks like. I don't really know. As far as Ramsey, I'm always a little bit leery about trading for guys that immediately are going to require a new contract, just because I feel like you're just double dipping and it's a lot of assets that you're pouring into one player. Ramsey's a really good player. He's played in basically a polar opposite defense from what the Steelers have played the last couple years.
Schematic fit.
Yeah, literally. I mean, Ramsey's so athletic and he's built different. So I'm sure that he could adjust. It's just, he's been playing in a very zone heavy. They play a lot of off coverage, tackle the catch type stuff. He's moved around in the slot, which, is kind of interesting. Maybe if Sutton were to walk, but, he hasn't played very much man coverage in recent years. So would be a big adjustment because the Steelers have, shifted towards more of that. So
yeah, it also costs $25 million a year.
Yeah. And you're going to have to, I would assume that you're going to have to give up at least pick 32.
Yes, at least pick 32.
And then maybe a little bit more.
On top of $25 million.
And then you're going to have to pay him like a top 3 corner. So
Yep.
Again, that's not something. If it happened, I guess it would be cool. I wouldn't, be like breaking my computer screen or anything, but I don't see that happening though.
You're telling me you wouldn't be angry?
I'm a cornerback guy.
Yeah, this is true. That would be the greatest moment of your life.
If you throw me a good corner, like to break down some film on or to like post some clips on, like I'm cool with that.
Very true. I always do forget about that. You would be.
Yeah, it don't matter.
You'd be the first person I thought of. I'd be like, well, Derek is definitely having a good day now. I don't care what has happened. He's having a good day. Yeah, that would be fun. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be fun. All right. With that, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk, and find us anywhere you get your podcasts. Check out Derek's second mock draft on complex.com and check out all of our work at allsteelers.com. I'll be back on Monday with Steven. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.